Yes, folks, we all know that the left can't quite grasp the concept of free speech, but they always feign that they do. Now, call me cynical, but they seem to do this just after they've actually silenced free speech. For example, just the other day, Jacinda Ardern Media ran 2 pro-free speech stories in one night, just one day after this story in the Herald. And hat tip to Mr. Maggots for pointing me to this story. High Court rules Auckland Council within rights to cancel Lauren Southern Stephen Molyneux event. The High Court has dismissed an appeal for a judicial review against Auckland Council's regional facilities operations after it cancelled a booking from 2 Canadian speakers accused of hate speech. Free Speech Coalition member David Cummin and Dunedin ticket holder and bookseller Malcolm Moncrief Spittle applied to the High Court to review Regional Facilities Auckland Limited's decision to can the event featuring far-right speakers Lauren Southern and Stephen Molyneux. Moncrief Spittle and David Cummin argued the council had acted irrationally in ruling it posed a security risk and went against the council's policy to facilitate rights to free speech. They also argued Mayor Phil Goff unlawfully influenced the decision, and he did. So you know not to vote for him in the upcoming election. The controversial event was to be held at the Bruce Mason Theatre in Takapuna last August, but was cancelled a month earlier by RFAL ruled it posed a health and safety threat. A health and safety threat by whom? By far-left radicals. That's who. They are always the ones who want to silence free speech. Here, now watch Jacinda Ardern Media pretending to be pro-free speech.
Now, the right to free speech, what does that actually mean? Well, under the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, everyone has the right to hold opinions and the right to express them, including in writing.
So why then have these rights been taken away from Otago University Professor Jim Flynn, especially when he's written a book, ironically, on this very subject?
This is Jim Flynn. He's a major brain box. He graduated from uni at the age of 18. He's researched the heck out of intelligence. The Flynn effect is named after him, yeah. We don't know what that is either. But he's super smart and written heaps of books. His latest is on the defence of free speech, and now he's having to defend that right. Professor Flynn has just found out that his UK publisher has pulled the pin and stopped the press. For more on this, University of Otago Professor Jim Flynn joins us. Let me get this straight, Jim. Your book on free speech has been stopped by the publishers because they're afraid of hate speech laws.
So essentially that. The book was approved by them, their editors approved it. It's in their September catalogue on the net still. They were all ready to go ahead, and then I got a letter saying that they felt the book was risky under Britain's hate speech laws because...
Yes, in other words, laws that prohibit free speech, except left-wing free speech.
While I had no intent of inciting racial discord, someone might take portions of the books out of context and use them to stir people up. But of course, that's true of any book ever written in the history of mankind.
Jim, would you say that you've written a hateful book?
Well, it's a book that people who don't like to hear serious discussions take place won't like.
Yes, the entire left.
Many people today just take a dogmatic stand. They say, we believe blacks and whites have no genetic differences for any desirable human trait, and anyone who argues the reverse, we feel should be boycotted. Well, as I point out in my book, you often gain most by arguing with your opponents.
Exactly, but the new left don't want arguments. They really don't want to learn.
And I found that by arguing with thinkers who believe in a racial difference, like Arthur Jensen, I learned an immense amount.
Exactly.
And it makes me sad to think of university students not reading Jensen, saying, oh, I can't read him, he's a terrible person. Because if they only read him, they would learn how to fortify their position and how to evidence it and how to defend their own views.
Jim, what do you think this says about the current state of free speech if you can't publish a book, like you say, debating free speech?
I think it's a sad reflection. When I was young, during the McCarthy period, it was people like me on the left who were fired from universities. And I always thought, well, as universities get more liberal, they will get more tolerant.
So wrong you were.
And now on many campuses where the students are predominantly left-wing, there even want these books banned from libraries. That is, rather than arguing with their opponents, they want to make it a test of might makes right. Well, all they're demonstrating is that they're more powerful than their opponents, not that they have more evidence on their side. Once you make might makes right take over, free speech is dead. It just depends.
Yeah, so why are you still a lefty then?
On who has the biggest battalions.
Wise words, Professor Jim Flynn. Thank you very much for your time this evening.
Thank you.
Very important to preserve the right to free speech. I believe, Tony, a crucial thing. But at the moment, we are in a debate around hate speech, and a lot of people are worried about what people are saying, particularly after what happened in Christchurch.
Oh, so here come the excuses again. Anyway, now for some more pro-free speech propaganda from Jacinda Ardern Media.
University of Auckland has refused to publicly condemn white supremacists who have plastered posters across the campus. The posters advertise a website which has white supremacist views, and students say the material is harmful and deserves to be called out. But Vice-Chancellor Stuart McCutcheon says while most people would consider the views abhorrent, the university has a responsibility to allow free speech.
Ah, yes, this left-wing indoctrination centre is so pro-free speech, we must believe them.
Of course, these individuals have the ability to come on campus and put them up. It's free speech to do that, but it's also free speech to take them off.
Taking them off is free speech. What a cartoon. Yes, his idea of free speech is to take the posters down. Rather than challenging their far-right views with argument and counter-argument and perhaps learning something, he thinks it's better to take the posters down. No wonder our kids are so dumb today.